What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Banished. Picking up right where we left off last time. I actually haven't even left the game. I just paused it, sorted out my video editing, and away I went. So here we go. So last time we started building our fish dock over here. Got a couple of houses, storage barn, and we've got our town over here. As you can see, we're having apparently a couple of little issues with food. Just gonna leave that for now. We do have more food up over here. That's about to be done. Gonna start off with increasing the priority of the fishing dock. Once we have the fishing dock going, and we'll have workers over here, I can actually have all this stone and iron cleared, which I'm going to set anyway. So all stone can be removed from that area, and iron as well. We're currently in autumn on our... Apparently this is the 4th year already. So I'm going to be looking at relatively soon. I think we're going to want to get a school going before we grow too large. It's easier to deal with it now while we don't have too many workers, or we've only got a few children coming through. So let's start planning where we want to put that. So our limit for the Forester's Lodge is here. I want trade stuff to be over here, so there's going to be a lot of like tailoring, maybe a blacksmith again, although unlikely. Let's put 2 workers on that fishing dock. I kind of want to keep some of the more heavy trades separate. So I'm thinking about here, where this little hill is, we'll put a school. So I've got a couple of options. So we've got the normal school, which is this one. So it can do 20 students. Or I've got the college, which I believe does 100 students and requires 4 teachers to do all 100. So it does require quite a bit of resources, but we do actually have enough for it. So I'm going to put that right there. And again, as with everything else, your students will want to go to the closest school to them. Your teachers will want to live nearby. It will eventually have 4 teachers. Just trying to position this correctly. There we go. For now, I'll just put 2 houses there. And apparently we just had someone die of starvation. Not good. So we've just had 2 people die of starvation. And we've got another house with no food. So what we can do, let's get a 3rd hunter going. Let's get 2 more gatherers. Still got 5 labourers, so I get 2 more fishermen going. Need to get that buffer of food going again. See, we've got another person there having issues with food. 2 people, 3 people. See, now we're having issues with food. This is one of the challenges. I should have kept on top of that a little bit earlier with trying to keep our workers up in some areas. And of course, having our fishermen needing to travel so far when they catch fish does not help. So we're already running out of citizens here due to this. Got no one currently starving again. Hopefully they... Oh, come on, I hope you get food. We should catch up again on food shortly. Any food we're getting at the moment, it just goes into our storage and then it disappears. People are just picking it up right away. So our vendor keeps collecting it, taking it back to the shop. People are taking it straight from the shop to their houses. Got 1 labourer without food at the moment. Still not getting that buffer of food. We're in winter, which actually means we're going to have less food coming in now. So that's one thing you'll notice as well as you play the game, and it gets exaggerated later on when you're dealing with crops and orchards. You'll get a big boost of food in the spring, or you'll start getting more food in the spring. You'll get a big boost in summer, late summer, early autumn. You'll get a nice big boost of food. You'll suddenly have a lot more in storage. But then over winter and early spring, or late autumn to early spring, you're going to get not much food at all because you've got no crops growing. You're not going to be getting fruit on most of your trees. A lot of your berries and stuff in your forested areas don't really grow either, so you're not collecting much of those. See, we've currently got one house without food. We're sort of getting a little bit of a buffer going. I would like to see us approach about 1,000 food. That's another benefit of building the school as well as you go into the later game. If you do come across these areas where suddenly you have a big population drop, you can actually close the school. All the students in that school suddenly become laborers. And then the only downside to that, which is why I want to get one built early now, is that you're going to have a big gap where you get no children coming into laborers because they're going to go to school first. Just waiting on the builder at the moment to work on it. Actually going to prioritize it. We're not having the tool issue we had partway through last episode. We're still sitting roughly at about 50 tools. Pretty much right on 50 tools at the moment, which is the limit. As we get more population, I will increase that limit. I do want to also build steel tools. So what's the benefit of building the school? It does cause issues to start off with. As I said, you're going to have a period no laborers. But educated citizens work more efficiently, they work quicker, they're more productive than uneducated. So later on when we get our farms, they're going to be more productive, they're going to produce more, they're going to be able to harvest more in that time, in the time frame that's required, than anyone who's uneducated. So I'd rather start getting everyone educated now as they come through before we get to that point. So I've got one teacher in there. That should be plenty for now. Apparently it takes a maximum of 3. One thing I'm also going to start working towards is I try to keep, once I get established, 10% of my population as laborers. So at the moment we have a population of 38. So I'll eventually be trying to keep, if at this level of population I want to keep 3. Since it's 38, I probably want to round it up. I want to try and keep 4 laborers at all times. So that means that I've got reasonable amount of work going on outside with collecting resources, cutting down trees and everything. And if people starve or if something happens and they die off, I've got a good reserve there to just fill in. I don't know how well that's going to go later on in the game when we've got a population of a couple of hundred. The other thing I want to do is we are spread out in this small area, but I do eventually want to spread out even more because I do have disasters turned on. So being spread out does mean that we are more likely to be hit when a disaster like a tornado comes through, but we're less likely to have the majority of our town wiped out. And that is what actually concerns me right now. I have my whole town on the screen. Got all our houses built. Still don't have much in the way of a buffer of food. So I'm thinking it's time that we build another one of our little gathering centers here. So I'm going to quickly plan everything out, where it's all going to go. So this is something I like to do at about this point of the game anyway. So I'm going to plan where we put our mines, our quarry. So I'm thinking we'll put, might be able to fit there. Okay, we'll put one mine there. So having a little bit of trouble finding space here. Put it here. There we go. Just gonna lock that one. So it is a little bit inside of the forestry area. Let's go ahead and put path there. One there. So we're not actually going to be using these right away. Just trying to plan out where I want everything to go. Then we've got room for probably put our quarry there. Because mines are, they require a lot of workers, so that gives us plenty of room for residential. And then I'll put a, not a woodcutter, I'll put a forester's lodge. Leave a little bit of a gap in between. Put the forester's lodge there. And then we have the same sort of setup again. That may be slightly different on this one. So I've got our forester's lodge. I will put a one. Put a gatherer's hut next to it. Gatherer's hut, I'll put a little cross. Do our storage barn again. go down the other side. We're not going to use the forester's lodge right away. Fill in our section for the stockpile. A hunting cabin. We'll pause a hunting cabin to start off with. And then we've got enough room there to put both stories of the house. I'm not going to put a herbalist over in this one, but we will still have another woodcutter. Right there in the middle. And we'll join up our roads. There. And there. I'm not going to be too worried about the woodcutter. We'll do the woodcutter when we do the forester's lodge. What I really want over here is gatherer's hut and the hunting cabin. Shall leave the hunting cabin for a while. And I'll get a worker back in our herbalist hut. We'll also need to sort out a small local shop so that they keep getting that variety. So what have we got? I believe I have a smaller. Have a market? No. Hardware store. Oh, there's the general store. So they're both the same sort of size area. So I'll just put a hardware store, I think, this time. So don't be too confused by the names. The hardware store and the general store, they're essentially the same building, they're just a different style. So over time, I'll put that there. So at the moment, we're keeping up with firewood, although we don't have much actual wood. We're keeping up with tools, that's great to see. I'm still worried about food. We're in spring, we've only got a buffer of 64. As I said, I really want to see that approach the 1000 mark. And of course, another issue I've got right now is no one's going to be clothed. I do have a textile storage of 100 at the moment. That won't get everyone clothed. In fact, to make leather jackets, it's not going to last long at all. That'll probably only make like 50. But it will get some people clothed. And of course, because I've been laying out stone roads, working out where things are going to go. They've gone through a lot of the stone. Once we do start getting a reasonable buffer in food, I do want to start getting the quarry going with at least 2 people in it. It won't produce much per year, but it'll be, instead of having to grab it off the map, because there is only a certain amount you can grab from the map, and also iron. Coal can wait for a while, but at least 2 workers in both of those eventually to start off with. We're in late summer and we still don't have much food around. Not much food in storage. Here we go, this is what I was talking about in late summer, early autumn. We suddenly just jumped up to 300. But I want to see us coming out of winter with, I want to be going into winter with at least 1,000 and coming out of winter with at least 500 at the moment. Currently got 11 students in the school. So here we go, we've got our gatherer's hut going. So that's 4 more people I can employ. So the next 4 labourers I get through will definitely be gatherers. Next thing we're working on apparently is the house and the storage barn. So quick tip for anyone if you're new to playing the game or if you're looking at spreading out some of your production, like you've got farms, keep storage barns nearby to everything, because as you're seeing right now, I saw it just before, let's see if they do it now. Our gatherer, we've got 2 gatherers working on this building because there's 4, they've been split evenly amongst both buildings. Our gatherer is bringing stuff back to the hut and then taking it over to the other storage barn to be stored. If we have a storage barn locally, they're just going to take it from the building to the storage barn, and then the merchants, so our people that work in the general store, they will go from the store to the storage barn and the stockpile and pick up what they need for the store, and then your citizens will collect what they need for the houses from the store. So always keep storage barns, stockpiles close to production, keep general stores and markets close to residential. Another thing to keep note as well is if you have production like I have the blacksmith here, they will go to the nearest location to pick up the resources they require. So in his case, if he's next to a mine and he has minerals right next to him, he will still travel away to pick up the wood. So having a general store or a market near to them is also beneficial. And we've just had 2 people come out of the school and are now labourers. So I'm actually going to put 2 more gatherers on. I'm not meeting my requirement of the percentage of labourers I want, but at the moment I need that food. currently got 13 students, 11 children, and 23 adults. Okay, our builder's almost finished with that house. So I may as well start setting up. The next thing that we're going to have constant issue with is wood. So I'm going to unpause that. As we get more population, I'm going to have to increase the limit of wood. Since I have the no coal in houses mod, they're not going to take coal that we mine or that we import to heat their homes. They're always going to use firewood, which means I've always got a requirement to keep more wood, because as our population grows, I have to increase the buffer of firewood. They're going to be using up more firewood, which means that we need more wood constantly coming in. And we just got another labourer in. I do need to get 2 more people in the gatherer's hut, but I'm actually going to leave that person as a labourer. Next 2 will go into the gatherer's hut. And we're finally starting to get that buffer of food by the looks that I want. Late summer we have 600 in stock. Almost right where I want to be. So it looks like I'm going to finish this video here. We've started our second kind of little town area. We've got ourselves our fishing dock set up. We got ourselves a school. And we're starting to get a healthy amount of labourers coming through, educated labourers coming through, which means more productivity. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you next time.